Hi. So, anything from last time, or should I review first and then we can talk about stuff? You had said something, no? I can't remember, Prachi. Or did we cover it last time?
We discussed it then only. Oh, yeah. I forgot now.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, we were talking about the inexhaustibility of uh, our powers. So yeah,
Mm.
we would. It that whole section started with the fact that the need to understand is has become stronger and clearer why it is so imperative through all these conversations, and that has been the main point of that of all of this conversation, that we must recognize the imperative nature of having to understand, because humans are sanskar concordant creatures. That means beings. That means that our behavior, our conduct will only be systematized based on our sanskars, or which is our understanding. Sanskars are deeply rooted acceptances that match reality. And so then the first thing to understand is the nature of the Jeevan. The nature of the Jeevan is of this configurationally complete atom. And one logical way of seeing why this is how this is configurationally complete is on the basis of observing that our powers and forces are both inexhaustible. And in order for anything to be inexhaustible, it would have to be unchanging. Like its structure would have to be unchanging. Only then could it be inexhaustible. So that is one logical way of coming to the conclusion that the Jivan is configurationally complete or permanent. And another point that we had been discussing was how the anchoring of humane conduct is equality, and the anchoring of equality in humans is our jivan, or what does it mean by the jivan? It means also the so inexhaustible powers, inexhaustible forces, and also the jivan, the human goals. These are also equal. There's another point. Human goal, power, force, one more thing. But yeah, these are the anchors of equality.
In what way equal?
So in the sense that all of us Jivans who run human bodies have inexhaustible hope, inexhaustible thought, inexhaustible desire, da 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 da, and
Mm.
inexhaustible um, tasting, inexhaustible weighing, inexhaustible witnessing, da 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 da. So in that way, we are all equal. There is no difference. What we do with that power and that force, of course, will vary, but in its nature, it's inexhaustible
Okay.
and
Yeah.
equal.
Okay. Mm.
And then
Okay.
later on, he was also saying that he was also talking about diversity. Now I remember that, although our powers are equal, our forces are equal, our goals are equal, and our understanding will be the same, but there will also be diversity. But diversity will be in the manner of presentation. This was an example he had given. So there will still be diversity, but only in this dimension. So this is what where we had reached last time. I think we were talking about satisfaction and so we were discussing the different ways in which we have inexhaustible powers, which is, say, we're constantly verifying and examining within ourselves in each tasting of sensation, whether I felt satisfied or dissatisfied, in each weighing, whether this weighing was satisfactory or dissatisfactory, whether witnessing was satisfactory or dissatisfactory, and so on and so forth. And when anything proves to be dissatisfactory, we again go about trying to change it such that it can become satisfactory in the next iteration. So this is a process that he was saying I can see in myself, and it happens in all of us. Um, and another point much earlier on he had said was something like, no one, all of us are looking for resolution, for solution, and no one accepts mistakes. Even the ones who commit mistakes don't uh, find it acceptable when they recognize that it's a mistake. So if they themselves don't find it acceptable, then naturally no one else will find it acceptable. So as soon as something is recognized as a mistake, it becomes unsatisfying, or yeah, unacceptable. But the only way to be rid of all mistakes is through understanding. So this is the general theme of the discussion. Anything that you want to talk about or ask before we start?
No, Udrishta.
Okay. I think we were just right towards the end. So,
और उसी प्रकार ज्ञानावस्था समझ में आया कि नहीं आया, ये समझदारी का आधार बनी.
yes, now I remember. Prachi, you had asked the meaning of comprehension, I think, exactly. Yeah, so we were talking about satisfaction and dissatisfaction in comprehension. And what will be comprehended, the meaning of this entity or that entity or Jnanavastha, this is what he's talking about.
अब इसको समझदारी हमको समझ में आ गई है, इसको जांचा कैसा जाए? उसको व्यवहार में जांचा जाता है, कार्य में जांचा जाता है.
So whether I have understood or not, how will I examine that? Where will that be examined? It will be examined in our behavior, in our work.
व्यवस्था में जांचा जाता है.
And in system.
3 जगह है. अब मैं व्यवहार में, कार्य में 2 जगह में जांचा.
So these are the 3 locuses in which it can be examined. In which this can be verified whether I have understood or not. In our work, in our behavior, and in system. And I have been able to examine or verify in my work and behavior in these 2 places.
अब व्यवस्था के रूप में हम स्वयं जीता हूं, किंतु समग्र व्यवस्था अभी बनाई नहीं मानव परंपरा में.
And although I live in the form of an order in myself, I am systematic in myself. However, there is no larger order in humanity that exists that I can be part of.
हम स्वयं व्यवस्था में जीता हूं, ये बात सत्य है.
I myself live in order. That is true.
व्यवस्था में जीने के बाद हमारा अनुभव के लिए पुनः प्रमाण मिल जाता है. हमारा अनुभव बुलंद होता रहता है. इस ढंग से अनुभव मूलक विधि से जीने वाली बात आई.
And on the basis of living in order, I find the evidence of my experience, my anubhav. My experience becomes all the more buland. What buland? Strong or whatever. Buland.
Like reinforced?
Yeah. Loud is the meaning of buland means loud, but yeah, it becomes that much more reinforced, basically. And what was it?
बुलंद होता रहता है. इस ढंग से अनुभव मूलक विधि से जीने वाली बात आई.
In this way, this is a way of living rooted in experience, of experience rooted living. So you live in order that evidences your experience and it reinforces your experience. And that is experience rooted living.
इस ढंग से ये 4 अवस्था का प्रयोजन समझ में आया. मनुष्य जो है ना, समझदारी पूर्वक अनुभव मूलक विधि से व्यवस्था में जीता है.
And in this way, we understand the purpose of the 4 orders. So humans are the ones that live on the basis of understanding in an experience-rooted way.
मनुष्य जो है ना, समझदारी पूर्वक अनुभव मूलक विधि से व्यवस्था में जीता है.
Live on the basis of understanding in an experience-rooted way, in a systematic, in order, basically. This is their way to be. This is their basis for living in order.
एक सूत्रीय हाथ लगी और जीव अवस्था वंशानुषंगी विधि से व्यवस्था में जीता है.
So this is one principle that we have reached, and then the animal order lives in an orderly way on the basis of lineage concordance.
और प्राणावस्था बीजानुषंगी विधि से व्यवस्था में जीता है.
And the biological order lives in an orderly way on the basis of seed concordance?
ठीक है। चौथा, जितने जितने भी पदार्थावस्था है परिणामानुषंगी विधि से व्यवस्था में जीता है।
All right. And then fourth, all the material order that exists lives in an orderly way based on result concordance. Result is configuration over here.
इस क्रम से पूरा अस्तित्व ही व्यवस्था में होता हुआ हमको समझ में आया है।
And in this order, in this sequence, I have been able to understand all of existence to be living in order in this way. Okay. So next video. This is सह अस्तित्व और coexistence.
बात अभी क्या दो बात दो टूक रूप में समझ में आती है आई कि
Now we have understood two things up till now.
एक संवेदनशीलता मूलक विधि से हम जीने की कला को विकसित करना ये काम पूरा हो गई है। मान
The first, that on the basis of sensitivity, we have already completed the process of developing a way of living. Sorry. संवेदनशीलता विधि से जीने की कला को विकसित करने का काम पूरा हो गया. So we have already finished developing a way of living, the art of living on the basis of sensoriality or sensitivity. This is already over. We've already completed this.
मानव कर लिया, इसमें जितने भी ज्यादा से ज्यादा करना है वो सब कर लिया मैं सोचता हूँ, क्योंकि संवेदनशीलता विधि से जो जीन
So humans have already done this. In this realm, whatever had to be done, the maximum that could have been done, humans have already accomplished. This is what I feel.
करना है वो सब कर लिया मैं सोचता हूँ, क्योंकि संवेदनशीलता विधि से जो जीने के लिए जो जरूरत है वो जरूरत की वस्तुएं जो है मनुष्य को छोड़ करके बाकी चीज है, मनुष्य को छोड़ करके बाकी चीज है, तो वो जीव संसार है, वनस्पति संसार है.
Because that which requires living with on the basis of sensitivity are things that are entities aside from human beings. And what are such entities? It is the animal order, the animal world, the plant world,
और पदार्थ संसार है.
and the
इन तीनों को आदमी ने कैसा उपयोग किया अपने उपयोगिता को अपने लिए वस्तु को पाने के लिए, वो आपको सबको विदित है.
So how humans have utilized these three orders in order to obtain the items that they require, that is something that all of us are already aware of.
ये इतिहास पूर्वक हम कैसे इसमें ज्यादा से ज्यादा सफल हुए वो बात आप हमको पता है.
And thanks to history, how we have been very successful in utilizing these is something that is known to all of us.
ये सफलता विफलता को जब आकलित करने जाते हैं, हम सफल होने के लिए और किसी को विफल करते हुए हम सफल होने की बात करते हैं तो असंतुलन का कारण होता है.
And when we're talking about success and being successful, then when we talk about becoming successful at the cost of someone else's failure, then that is going to lead to imbalance.
वही आज की विषम परिस्थिति है.
And that is the negative consequence or negative situation of today.
हम अपने से जो संग्रह सुविधा के लिए जितने भी हम काम की उसमें से धरती तंग हो गई.
All the efforts we have employed for resource accumulation up till now has led to the planet becoming agitated.
धरती अपने तंगाई से मुक्ति पाना संभव है कि नहीं, यह भी एक प्रश्न चिन्ह है। उसको एक प्रकार प्रयोग करके ही सिद्ध करना चाहिए।
And whether the planet is capable of being freed from this agitation or not is itself a question mark, and that can only be really answered or established on the basis of attempts or experimentation.
इसको एक प्रकार प्रयोग करके ही सिद्ध करना चाहिए। हम जो कुछ भी धरती के साथ अभी अपराध कर रहे हैं उसको एक बार रोकना ही पड़ेगा।
All the crimes that we are committing against the planet today, they would have to be stopped. They will have to stop.
और अपराध विहीन विधि को समझना पड़ेगा।
And a crimeless way would have to be understood.
उसके लिए जो अभी जितने भी और विज्ञान तकनीकी बात किए हैं अथवा कलात्मक बात शिक्षा में प्रवेश हो चुकी है, इस समग्रता से ये चीज आ नहीं सकती।
And for that, whatever dialogue or discourse, whatever scientific dialogue or whatever artistic discourse has emerged or entered into the educational system as of now, to this end, it is not possible through those, what did he say? समग्रता में बात आ नहीं सकती।
प्रवेश हो चुकी है, इस समग्रता से ये चीज आ नहीं सकती।
Based on all of these, all of such discourses, samagra means collectively and integratedly with all of such discourses, it is not possible to attain this. This being the crimeless way of engaging with the planet.
जो कला के रूप में हम जो कुछ भी शिक्षा दे रहे हैं, इसमें शिक्षा संसार में और तकनीकी विज्ञान के रूप में जो कुछ भी शिक्षा दे रहे हैं, इन समग्रता को यदि हम एक साथ एक नजर में लाएं, इससे करवट लेने की कोई जगह नहीं है।
All the education we are providing in the arts and all the education that we are providing in the sciences and technology, if we were to look at all of these collectively as a whole, we will find, we see that there is no room for us to, he says, there is no room for us to turn. When we look at it, we'll find that there is no room left for us to turn.
एक साथ एक नजर में लाएं, इससे करवट लेने की कोई जगह नहीं है।
In the sense that there is no room left to move forward if we look at all that is being discussed in the arts and the sciences.
इसमें और डूबने की जगह है।
There is room to further drown in these.
और भी धरती को नाश करने की जगह है।
That is, there is room to further destroy the planet in these.
और पर्यावरण को और प्रदूषित करने की जगह है और मनुष्य एक दूसरे से और तंग होने की जगह है।
And there is further room to pollute the environment. And there is further room for humans to further agitate one another, to further trouble one another.
और परेशान होने की जगह है। इससे राहत पाने की कोई सूत्र नहीं है।
However, there is no principle with which to find relief from these in these sciences and arts education.
अभी तक जितने भी बड़े बड़े सम्मेलन सभा जैसा एक ये भी सभा सुनते हैं, सभी राज्य मिलकर के कोई सभा बना दिए हैं, उसमें बड़े बड़े चीज, बहुत अच्छे चीज निर्णय।
Up till now, all these large congregations, these large confluences. We also come to hear of confluences or congregations in which several nations have come together.
एक ये भी सभा सुनते हैं, सभी राज्य मिलकर के कोई सभा बना दिए हैं, उसमें बड़े बड़े चीज, बहुत अच्छे चीज निर्णय प्राप्त होता है.
In which there are many big decisions, very great decisions that are reached.
अभी तक यही निर्णय हुआ, यह भी निर्णय नहीं हो पाया. सामरिक शक्ति, सामरिक अधिकार जो वह अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संस्था में होना चाहिए या राष्ट्र में होना चाहिए.
But up till now, they haven't even concluded or decided whether military power should be held by an international organization or national organization.
अभी तक वो वादग्रस्त है ही, अभी तक तो वो पूरा नहीं हुआ.
That is still under debate. That is still not decided.
पहले मुद्दा यही है. और
That is the first issue.
उसके बाद ये इसी प्रकार अंतर्राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा के बारे में सोचने के लिए भी संस्थाएं बन चुकी हैं.
And then after that, there are also organizations that have been built to think about international education.
अभी तक ये तय नहीं हुआ सभी देश में दो सुखद शिक्षा का स्वरूप क्या होना चाहिए.
But even till now, it has not been concluded. It has not been decided what the nature of sukhad is, a joyous or happy form of education should be in all nations.
वो अभी तक तय नहीं हुआ है. इसका गवाही यही है, हर वर्ष में 4 बार शिक्षा का समीक्षा, पुनः पुनर्विचार, पुनः समीक्षा,
That has still not been decided, and the testimony to that is simply that every year there are 4 times each year there are शिक्षा का पुनर्विचार. क्या था?
तय नहीं हुआ है.
And
इसका गवाही यही है, हर वर्ष में 4 बार शिक्षा का समीक्षा, पुनः पुनर्विचार, पुनः समीक्षा.
So 4 times a year there is a critique of the education systems. There is a rethinking and a re-evaluation of the education system.
पुनः पुनर्विचार. इस पर हम
Maybe select appraisal?
Yeah, reappraisal. Yeah. A critique. 4 times a year, there's a critique of the education system, a reappraisal, rethinking.
जो इससे 50-60 वर्ष की या स्मरण के अनुसार मैं कहूँ तो यही हमसे कहना बनता है, और बारंबार इसके ऊपर कोई धनराशि व्यय करने की अपन जिसको चाहते हैं उनको वो धन मिल जाए, ऐसा.
So this is something I can say based on my 50 or 60 odd years of memory, and each time there is also a monetary amount that is decided, which is which one?
धनराशि व्यय करने की अपन जिसको चाहते हैं उनको वो धन मिल जाए, ऐसा सोचने के अलावा दूसरा कोई चित्र मिला नहीं.
Which there is also a monetary amount that is delineated, but regarding which, except for the fact that whoever I want to give it to should receive it, there is no real progress that is made in this area. So even though money is there, all the decisions that come out of it are essentially end up in the form of funding amounts, and that funding goes to whoever they wish to send it to. But that's about as much as a result as you can find in these huge congresses or committees.
तो ये कहने के लिए ये कोई चीज मिली नहीं अभी तक, इतने समीक्षाएं के बाद देश विदेशों में सभी धरती के छाती पर जितने भी समीक्षा हुई उस
So to say this, that nothing has as yet been found among these nations and internationally on the face of the earth.
बात देश विदेशों में सभी धरती के छाती पर जितने भी समीक्षा हुई उसमें जो यही हमको करना है ऐसा अंगुली न्यास करने योग्य कोई बिंदु मिला नहीं.
Nothing has been found after all the critiques that have happened on the face of this earth. Nothing that could clearly point out that this is what we need to be doing. This is nothing that could specify exactly that this is what we must be doing.
और भी पुनर्विचार करना है, पुनर्विचार करना, पुनर्विचार तो करते रहना, जब तक मिट ना जाए तब तक पुनर्विचार करें.
And if you want to reappraise some more, then continue reappraising. Of course, one will have to continue rethinking and reappraising. Continue reappraising until क्या मिट ना जाए.
पुनर्विचार करना, पुनर्विचार तो करते रहना, जब तक मिट ना जाए तब तक पुनर्विचार करें.
Continue reappraising until you disappear off the face of the earth. जब तक मिट ना जाए.
जब कोई मानव परंपरा में हर मानव किसी निश्चय में आवे ना करे, शरीर यात्रा ही शांत हो जाए, उसका क्या मतलब निकलेगा?
When in the entire human tradition, no human is able to come to a definite decision, the definite conclusion, the entire their entire life's journey gets over. What's the meaning of all of it? That is, they even die. People are constantly dying having gone through this entire process, but without reaching any sort of real conclusion. What's the meaning of all of it?
अब पहले ये भी एक मुद्दा है, क्या हम हर मानव जो मानव कुल में किसी के गोद में आता है, उनको शरीरावधि में वे निश्चय चाहिए कि नहीं चाहिए?
So this is also an issue, that each human that arrives in the laps of any parent, in their lifetime, in the period of their life, do they desire any sort of conclusion or not?
निर्णय चाहिए कि नहीं चाहिए, ये इस बात पर भी सोचने की एक आवश्यकता है.
Do they desire a decision or not? And this is also something that is worth thinking about, or this is something that requires thinking about.
मेरे अनुसार इसकी आवश्यकता बाल्यकाल से ही रहता है.
According to me, the need for this exists ever since childhood.
उसका कारण मैंने ये पाया है, बाल्य स्वरूप से ही मैंने अध्ययन किया है, हर मानव संतान जो सही करने की इच्छुक रहता है.
And how I have I want to get it.
मेरे अनुसार इसकी आवश्यकता बाल्यकाल से ही रहता है. उसका कारण मैंने ये पाया है, बाल्य स्वरूप से ही मैंने.
So the reason behind this that I have found is that ever since childhood, each child wishes to do the right thing.
अध्ययन किया है, हर मानव संतान जो सही करने की इच्छुक रहता है.
I have studied that every human child desires to do what is right.
और न्याय पाने की आवश्यकता उनमें बना ही रहता है.
And the need to receive justice exists in them, is present in them.
न्याय का अपेक्षा बना रहता है, सही करने की इच्छा समाई रहती है.
The expectation of justice remains, the desire for doing the right thing is present.
सत्यवक्ता होता है.
And he is truthful.
झूठ बोलना बच्चे नहीं जानते.
Children don't know how to lie.
जब वो जैसे जैसे बड़े होते हैं वैसे वैसे उनको झूठ बोलना आ जाता है, क्योंकि हम वातावरण ऐसा बनाए हैं, झूठ बोले बिना रहा नहीं जा सकता.
as they grow older, they learn how to lie because we've created such an environment that it is impossible to exist without lying.
वो राज्य राज्य के रूप में भी झूठ बोलने को एक बहुत रहस्यमयी तत्व मानी गई है। ये सर्वविदित बात है।
Not sure what he means by this. Even at the level of state, lying is considered to be, झूठ बोलना एक बहुत क्या तथ्य मानी गई है।
वो राज्य के रूप में भी झूठ बोलने को एक बहुत रहस्यमयी तत्व मानी गई है। ये सर्वविदित बात है।
Even in the form of the state, lying is considered to be a very great mystical fact. Not sure what he's talking about. Is he talking about like political dealings, maybe, in which you
I'm
lie?
guessing maybe the like the politics where lying and being duplicitous is seemingly accepted, right? Everyone's doing it in that political world, and it's almost seen
Diplomacy.
that to be like an art or a skill or something, no? To be able to kind of
Yeah, be
to
deceptive is the right
dodge the
thing.
question, or dodge the question, or make it look, paint it in a different light or something. It's almost seen as a kind of like
Art.
something that's a skill or art or something.
Right, right.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is like he's talking about the art of diplomacy, where lying has been seen as this very great mystical, special art talent in a way.
Right. Mm-hmm.
और व्यापार में झूठ समाया ही है। ठीक है।
So yeah, so it's seen as this great mysterious art in politics and in business. Well, lying is entrenched in business as it is.
और शिक्षा में सच्चाई उभरती नहीं है।
And in education, truth is unable to emerge.
तो इस ढंग से आदमी कहाँ जाए? इस प्रकार से मनुष्य जो है ना, परिस्थिति के बाध्य होकर, दास होकर, परिस्थिति के अनुसार परिस्थिति के प्रभाव के अनुसार।
So in this way, where does the human go? And in this way, being compelled by the situation, being compelled by the influence of the situation, the individual,
या अपने दिनचर्या को बनाने के लिए तैयार होता है। जो पहले जैसा था और उतना तो वो तो पा ही जाता है, उसके साथ और कल्पना लगाता है और अच्छे झूठ हो जाता है और अच्छे और कुछ अपराध हो जाता है। इस ढंग से अपराधों की संख्या बड़ी है, ऐसा मेरा सोचना है। जैसे उसके साथ और कल्पना लगाने के प्रभाव के अनुसार या अपने दिनचर्या को बनाने के लिए तैयार होता है।
So based compelled by the situation and influenced by the environment and the situations around, the individual prepares himself for a life or for a schedule according to that, according to those circumstances, and he receives whatever he has to receive from what existed earlier or previously. But on top of that, he also adds his own imagination, his own creativity, and his own lies and deception and crimes.
जो पहले जैसा था और उतना तो वो तो पा ही जाता है, उसके साथ और कल्पना लगाता है और अच्छे झूठ हो जाता है और अच्छे और कुछ अपराध हो जाता है। इस ढंग से अपराधों की संख्या बड़ी है।
So whatever he receives, but on top of that, he adds his imagination and makes even better lies and even better crimes. And in this way, the number of crimes has only increased.
ऐसा मेरा सोचना है। जैसा पेपरों में पढ़ते हैं और हर दिन जो इसकी गाथाएं आते ही रहते हैं।
This is my thinking, which corresponds to what we read every day in the papers, which is enumerated in tales that are heard.
तो ये माध्यमों से, जैसा टीवी वगैरह से और दूर श्रवण से, अर्थात आकाश क्या कहते हैं, आकाशवाणी से भी
which gets shared across various media, such as television, etc., or radios.
हम इन सभी बातों को सुनते ही रहते हैं.
We are constantly hearing such tales.
इन सब सुनने के आधार पर हम जो निर्णय ले पाते हैं, माने एक अपने मन को सजो पाते हैं. कुल मिलाकर निर्णय क्या होता है इसमें, तो एक सजो पाते हैं, ये आता है इतिहास के अनुसार हम कोई गम्य स्थली में पहुंचे नहीं.
Based on hearing all these things, when we are able to collect our thoughts or come to some sort of conclusion, what we find is that throughout history, we have not really identified or reached any sort of destination.
पहुंचने की तड़प सभी ओर दिखाई पड़ती है, सभी में पहुंचे नहीं. पहुंचने की तड़प सभी ओर दिखाई पड़ती है, सभी बड़े बड़े संस्थाएं शुभ चाहते हैं, हो नहीं पाता. यह
The पहुंचने की होड़, I think he's saying, the motivation or the desire, not the desire, it's like the force to move towards it. Hoard. The movement towards.
Yes, hold is also like little somewhat urgency, like a sense of fast
Urge.
urge.
Yeah. So the urge to reach a destination can be seen all around us in all these great organizations.
सभी ओर दिखाई पड़ती है, सभी बड़े बड़े संस्थाएं शुभ चाहते हैं, हो नहीं पाता.
All these great organizations desire welfare, but they aren't able to achieve it.
ये संकट को तो सभी झेल ही रहे हैं, राज्य संस्था, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संस्था.
This is a crisis that everyone already is already suffering from, whether it be national organizations, international organizations, whatever.
सभी यही फदियत में पड़े हुए हैं, ऐसा दिखाई पड़ती है. मैं समझता हूँ इस
all of these are in the same all of these are stuck in the same, I don't know what phadiyat is, but I'm guessing it's like a swarm or trap.
यही फदियत में पड़े हुए हैं, ऐसा दिखाई पड़ती है. मैं समझता हूँ इससे छूटने की आवश्यकता तो है ही. इससे
I believe that there is naturally a need to escape from this.
छूटने की आवश्यकता जो पहले बताया, हम यदि शरीर संवेदना के आधार पर कितने भी और काम करें, कितने भी और जितने भी धनराशि को मने सारा जंगल काट करके नोट बना दें, तो भी नहीं होने वाला है.
And in order to escape from this, as I've already mentioned, no matter how much, no matter what all we do on the basis of sensitivity, no matter how many jungles we cut down to turn into currency notes, we are not going to be able to escape from it.
मने सारा जंगल काट करके नोट, कितने भी और जितने भी धनराशि को मने सारा जंगल काट करके नोट बना दें, तो भी नहीं होने वाला है.
Right. So why did the cutting of the jungle come? It says no matter what we might do on the basis of sensitivity, and the max we can do on the basis of sensitivity is greater and greater resources. And when we look at greater and greater resources, what are we going to do? We're going to turn them into cash. So even if we were to cut down all forests and turn them into cash, it's not going to lead to anything.
होने वाला का भाई आदमी को समझदार बनाओ, सुखी हो जाओ, ये की बात है इसमें.
So when is it going to happen now? The only way it is going to happen is simply make humans understand and become happy.
वाला का भाई आदमी को समझदार बनाओ, सुखी हो जाओ, ये की बात है इसमें. समझदार बनाने के एक ही मुद्दा है, अस्तित्व को समझना ही होगा सह अस्तित्व के रूप में.
And the only the only point, the only issue in the only content of helping anyone understand is that existence is an order, existence is a system.
बनाने के एक ही मुद्दा है, अस्तित्व को समझना ही होगा सह अस्तित्व के रूप में.
Oh, sorry. That existence must be understood in the form of coexistence.
जीवन को समझना होगा प्रामाणिकता के रूप में.
The Jeevan must be understood in the form of authenticity. Authenticity is that activity that corresponds to experience.
अनुभव के रूप में ही जीवन को समझना होगा.
So the Jeevan must be understood in the form of authenticity. It must be understood only in the sense of experience.
और यदि मानवतापूर्ण आचरण को समझना होगा तो मूल्य और मूल्यांकन के आधार पर ही समझना होगा.
And if humane conduct has to be understood, it has to be understood in terms of values and evaluation.
दूसरे विधि से मानवतापूर्ण आचरण को समझना ना तो आपसे बनेगी ना मुझसे बनेगी.
By no other way can understanding humane conduct be accomplished either by you or by myself.
ये सच्चाई है.
This is the truth.
तो जब कभी हम समझेंगे ये की विधि से समझेंगे कि मानवतापूर्ण आचरण को हम मूल्य और मूल्यांकन के आधार पर ही करेंगे.
So whenever we understand, we will understand in the same way that humane conduct will be understood in terms of values and evaluation.
मानवतापूर्ण आचरण को हम मूल्य और मूल्यांकन के आधार पर ही करेंगे. उसका पृष्ठभूमि आपको विदित.
Sorry, that humane conduct will occur on the basis of values and evaluation.
कराया है संबंध सहअस्तित्व सहज विधि से समीचीन है.
Its background has I have already made you familiar with that relationships are सहअस्तित्व सहज समीचीन है, are naturally contemporary. Literally, if I were to translate this, he says relationships are naturally contemporary to coexistence.
कराया है संबंध सहअस्तित्व सहज विधि से समीचीन है.
Sorry, it would be relationships are.
Does he mean corresponding?
No, he means present at the same, like they exist at all times in access to us in an existentially natural way. So literally it means relationships are contemporary in an existentially natural way, or in an existentially natural way, relationships are always contemporary or they are always present. Is it getting through?
In a way, if one exists, then other exists, kind of thing.
It's not about one or the other. It's just that, yeah, that they must exist. Like they are an inherent part of existence. Relationships. They are consistent.
And they're always there.
Yeah. So you could say samichin, another word I'm saying for samichin is consistent. So relationships are consistent with existence, or relationships are natural through existence, you could say. So that is the background.
Is it like, no, I'm not really understanding, but I was wondering, is it like relationships are like they eternally exist, so they're always there, and then the nature of them is dependent on maybe how we understand or don't or whatever, but we're inevitably related or something.
Yeah.
All the time. Is that something
Exactly.
like that or no?
Yeah, exactly. That relationships are inherently, inevitably there. We are inherently related by virtue of existing, because the nature of existence is coexistence. Therefore, by virtue of existing, we are related. So we just need to understand how we are related, and that how we are related are these values, and those values are going to be evaluated.
And so when you understand the relationship, then you understand how to be in the relationship.
Yeah, yeah. So, say even the word value actually is talking about what the value of that relationship is. So, say the value of a mother-child relationship, of the value of a mother is her maternal nature, her maternal quality, which is generosity and kindness and care. So that is the value of that relationship. So the relationship exists. That means that value exists inherently by virtue of the fact that a child is being born to someone. We just need to understand it and kind of like live up to it. And not maybe give it some time, but the main thing is that relationships exist. All we need to do is understand them and recognize them. They are inherent to existence. That's what he's saying.
Right.
And he was saying, this is the background